All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into something a little different. We're going to be checking out The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, focusing, of course, on the main character, Andy Stitzer, and his, well, his journey.
His journey
Exactly.
to finally, yeah. Or
Exactly. And it's funny, right? You think 40-Year-Old Virgin, you think just like a raunchy comedy.
Right.
But there's actually some surprising depth to this movie. When you start thinking about it,
Yeah.
it really digs into social pressure, self-discovery,
Absolutely.
finding love in the most unexpected places.
Yeah, it works on those multiple levels, like you were saying. It really is laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
But you're right, it offers a really insightful look at relationships and societal expectations,
Yeah.
especially in, a world that can feel a little obsessed with sex at times.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let's start with Andy himself, right? 40-Year-Old Virgin, yeah. But the screenplay really goes out of its way to show us he's just a genuinely good guy. Kind, pretty content with his life.
Right.
Got his own little quirky hobbies.
Yeah.
He collects action figures, unopened action figures.
Yes. And that action figure collection, that's key. It's not just a random hobby. It's actually symbolic
Oh, interesting.
of Andy's whole untouched life. I mean, even David, his friend, points it out later in the movie.
Uh-huh.
These pristine, unopened figures, it's like a metaphor for arrested development.
Wow.
Life lived in a bubble, completely safe from all the messiness of real experience.
Yeah, and that's kind of where everything gets interesting.
Mhm.
Because Andy, he starts out, he's happy, he's perfectly content, working out, building models, going to bed early.
Sounds like a great life.
I mean, does this sound like anyone we know?
Maybe.
Maybe. But then everything changes. He has this poker night with his coworkers,
Oh, yeah.
and the secret comes out, his virginity.
Big reveal.
It's exposed. And suddenly his whole world is turned upside down.
Right. And that scene, it really sets the stage for everything the movie is trying to say about the societal pressure around sex.
Yeah.
We see all their reactions, his coworkers. They're shocked, they're amused. Some of them genuinely want to help, which is nice, but is it really help?
Right.
I mean, are they being good friends or are they just projecting their own insecurities?
It's true, yeah. Like, why are we always trying to fix people who are perfectly fine just the way they are?
Exactly.
That's because they don't fit into some mold.
Right.
And for Andy, it's intense. This revelation, it sends him into this whole panic spiral.
Totally.
The whole world suddenly seems hypersexualized.
The screenplay uses humor, but you can see the anxiety underneath.
Oh, yeah,
Like when he's running from those buses with the suggestive ads.
Oh, yeah.
Or trying to block out the sounds of his elderly neighbors. It's funny,
Oh, yeah.
but it's also kind of heartbreaking.
It's like he's suddenly aware of this whole side of life that he's just been oblivious to.
Exactly.
And it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But also maybe a little fascinating.
Right, exactly. It's like he's been thrown into this world he never asked for
Yeah.
and has no clue how to deal with it.
And then his friends don't help.
Yeah.
They're well-meaning, but
They try.
completely clueless. They launch Operation Get Andy Laid.
Right. And it's one hilarious, awkward situation after another.
They drag him to bars, set up disastrous dates,
Yeah.
even speed dating,
Yeah.
all trying to fix him.
And it just highlights, again, the whole thing about masculinity and these societal norms.
Oh, yeah?
Like, men have to be experienced,
Yeah.
confident when it comes to sex,
Right.
otherwise you're deficient.
And we see this, like you said, it really comes out in his relationship with Jay,
Oh, yeah.
who is like the classic
Yeah.
alpha male,
Yeah.
brash, confident, obsessed with sex.
Right. But we'll see later. Even Jay has vulnerabilities.
Everyone does.
Everyone does.
Right.
And the screenplay, it uses these characters who seem kind of one-dimensional,
Yeah.
to explore this whole spectrum of human experience.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And in the middle of all this, they're trying to fix Andy.
Yeah.
A genuinely touching relationship starts to blossom.
You're talking about Trish, right?
Yeah.
The single mom he meets at the mini mall.
Precisely. Trish works in the mall, too, and she's such a contrast to all the other women he's been pushed towards.
Yeah.
Their connection, it just happens so naturally.
Yeah.
Annie helping her kids with magic tricks,
Yeah.
bonding with her family over homemade ice cream. It's sweet.
It is. It's like a breath of fresh air compared to all that forced awkwardness.
Right. It really shows you the power of genuine connection
Yeah,
over all this pressure to conform.
absolutely.
Yes.
And it shows us this different side of Andy.
Yes.
He's patient. He's caring, good with kids,
Yeah.
not the awkward caricature his friends make him out to be.
He's a real person with
Yeah.
depth,
Yeah.
capable of real bonds.
But, of course, no good romantic comedy is without its complications.
Oh.
And for Andy, those complications all stem from that big secret.
Yeah.
Remember that scene where Trish finds out
Oh, yeah.
about his secrets? The truth about his virginity?
Yeah.
It's a turning point.
Big time.
So much emotional fallout. Trish is hurt. She's angry. She feels deceived.
Understandably.
And Andy's left, trying to figure out how to reconcile his fear of intimacy with these genuine feelings he's starting to have for Trish.
Right. It's a tough spot.
Yeah, the mess.
Yeah. Back again with our deep dive into the 40-year-old virgin.
Pick it up right where we left off.
Yeah, with Andy and Trish's relationship.
Just hanging in the balance.
After that big reveal.
All those secrets coming out.
Yeah, it really forces them both to do some soul searching.
To confront some hard truths about themselves.
About their expectations for the relationship.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier that even Jay, the alpha male Mr. Confident,
Right.
he's got vulnerabilities too.
Oh, absolutely.
So does his story connect with what Andy and Trish are going through?
Totally, yeah. While Andy's dealing with the fallout of his secret, Jay's actually going through his own relationship drama.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he has this really painful breakup.
Oh, no.
And it forces him to reevaluate everything.
And look in the mirror a little bit.
Exactly, his choices, his priorities.
And it's interesting, right? Because it shows that even the guys who seem so confident on the surface,
Totally.
they can still struggle with those insecurities.
Absolutely. When it comes to love and relationships, everybody's got their own baggage.
So they both, Andy and Jay, even though they're starting from such different places,
Right.
they both end up learning these valuable lessons.
Yeah.
About vulnerability and being
Everything.
true to themselves.
Exactly. And it's actually Jay who, even though he gives Andy some pretty questionable advice sometimes,
Oh, yeah?
he ends up giving Andy a crucial push in the right direction.
Interesting.
Remember that scene where he encourages Andy to, well, get it on with Beth from the bookstore?
Oh, the bookstore scene.
It's so cringy. But it speaks to that pressure that men sometimes feel
Yeah.
to have a certain level of sexual experience.
To check that box.
Exactly. To have those stories to tell.
But Andy, he ultimately rejects that advice.
He does.
He realizes that using another woman to practice for Trish
Yeah.
would just be disrespectful.
Totally. Dishonest.
He wants his first time to be special.
Meaningful.
He wants it to be with someone he cares about.
Right. Someone he has a real connection with.
So while Andy's preparing for this ill-advised encounter with Beth,
Yeah.
Trish is busy planning his surprise birthday party,
Oh, no.
completely oblivious to what's going on.
Classic romantic comedy setup.
It really is.
All that dramatic irony.
And the screenplay, it just builds the tension.
So...
The audience knows the truth,
Yeah.
but Trish doesn't.
Right.
You're just waiting for that other shoe to drop
Wondering how she'll react.
when she finds out.
It's agonizing.
And then we get that scene at Beth's apartment.
Oh.
Andy's on the verge of taking the leap.
Into the unknown.
And it's both hilarious.
And excruciating.
I know, right?
The way it unfolds, it's brilliant.
It really is.
It seems like everything's going according to plan at first.
Yeah.
Awkward dinner, awkward moments.
And then the bathtub.
But then Andy freezes.
You can't go through with it.
That look of panic on his face.
It's perfect.
It captures that vulnerability.
It's like he suddenly realizes what he's about to do.
The magnitude of it all.
And he just isn't ready.
And Beth, bless her heart, she misreads the whole thing.
Of course.
Escalates the situation.
Which sends Andy running for the hills,
literally flees the apartment.
leaving Beth behind.
Bewildered and frustrated.
Total comedic chaos.
But it also highlights the importance of communication
Of consent.
in any intimate encounter.
Even in the most awkward situations.
It's crucial to be honest about your feelings.
And your boundaries.
Exactly. And in this case, Andy's flight response, it's funny,
Oh, yeah.
but it's the right decision.
Absolutely.
And his escape sets up another pivotal encounter. Jay's been waiting outside,
Of course he has.
catches Andy as he's leaving,
Yeah?
tries to convince him to go back inside.
Really?
Yeah, and it shows all those conflicting messages Andy's been getting
From his friends, from society.
from his own internal struggles
It's like he's torn between what he's supposed to do.
and what he truly wants.
Exactly. And thankfully, he listens to his gut.
He does.
He realizes sleeping with Beth isn't the answer.
Nope.
He decides to be honest with Trish.
Finally.
But as he's racing home,
Determined to confess.
he stumbles into a surprise of his own.
Oh, what's that?
Trish, in a moment of insecurity and suspicion,
Uh-oh.
she finds out the truth about Andy's virginity.
On her own.
Talk about a collision course.
Wow.
The universe wanted that truth to come out,
It did.
just not the way Andy planned.
And that confrontation scene
Oh, yeah.
when Trish confronts Andy,
So raw.
emotionally charged.
She feels so betrayed.
Not just by the lie, but by what it says about him.
About their relationship. It's like this secret just shattered
The
everything.
image she had of him.
And she's trying to reconcile that,
With her feelings for him.
right, with the reality of who he is.
And it's only when she's about to walk away
Yeah.
that Andy finally blurts out the truth.
He confesses.
He explains it's not some moral high ground.
Right.
It's a series of events, anxieties.
A lifetime of baggage.
Exactly. A really powerful moment of vulnerability.
So how does Trish react?
She's stunned at first,
Yeah.
and even more furious.
Oh, wow.
It's not just the lie, it's what it represents.
What it says about him.
It challenges everything she thought she knew.
About him and their relationship seems like an impossible situation.
It does.
How could they possibly move forward?
Well, that's where the film gets really interesting.
Okay.
It doesn't offer a simple resolution.
Ooh,
It leaves us with the question,
what's that?
can their relationship survive this?
Wow.
It's a bold ending.
It is?
Challenges the whole romantic comedy formula.
So Andy and Trish, they're at a crossroads now.
Yeah, big time.
He's finally confessed.
That big secret.
And she's just reeling.
Then the shock of it all.
It feels like everything's on the line.
It really does. This is where the screenplay just digs into all that stuff about trust and vulnerability,
Yeah.
acceptance in relationships.
Can Trish look past this one thing?
Right.
See the real Andy?
The guy she's falling for.
And can can he overcome all those fears?
His insecurities.
Finally embrace this chance at real intimacy.
Commitment.
It's like the film's holding up a mirror,
To all of us.
making us think about our own relationships.
Yeah.
What we expect.
What it really means to connect with another person.
Do we judge people based on what society says,
Or do we embrace them for who they are?
even if it makes us uncomfortable?
It's a tough question.
It is.
And the film, it doesn't give us easy answers,
Right.
but it does show the power of communication.
Of understanding.
Remember when Andy finally opens up to Trish? Explains everything.
Yeah, his whole
So
story.
his anxieties.
It's hilarious,
Yeah.
but also
Relatable.
it really is. Like everyone's been there.
At some point in their lives,
It makes you realize everyone's got their own journey.
their own baggage,
And those experiences,
even the embarrassing ones,
even the unconventional ones,
they shape who we are.
they lead to growth.
To self-discovery.
Make you wonder, all those awkward situations,
All those failed attempts to fix Andy,
maybe they were
it's a
necessary,
part of his journey
leading him to this point.
to real connection.
Maybe? So does Trish accept him?
In the end,
Does their relationship make it?
I don't want to spoil it,
Yeah.
but the film's ending,
Yeah.
it's satisfying,
Good.
but it also makes you think.
Okay.
It challenges the typical Hollywood ending.
How so?
Well, it reminds us that real-life relationships,
Yeah.
they're messy.
Yeah.
They're complicated.
Not always tied up with a neat bow.
Exactly. They take work.
Yeah.
A willingness to see beyond those surface judgments.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into The 40-Year-Old Virgin,
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say this movie,
It's more than just a funny movie.
it's about self-discovery,
The complexity of relationships.
embracing our own unique journeys.
Even if they don't fit the mold.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with some questions to think about.
It does.
How do societal expectations affect our views on love and intimacy?
What does it mean to truly accept someone?
Flaws and all.
How do we find real connection?
In a world obsessed with superficiality.
Big questions.
They are. But that's why we love these deep dives.
It is fascinating.
Thanks for joining me.
It's been a pleasure.
A real exploration of a movie that's both funny and insightful.
Absolutely.